The original System Shock was a landmark title. Originally released by Lookingglass Studios way back in 1994, it was a sci-fi spiritual successor to their Ultima Underworld games, iterating on their gameplay and world design and cementing the subgenre / gameplay philosophy we know as the immersive sim. However, while System Shock is looked back on with much reverence, the experience has not aged all that well over the years, being somewhat obtuse for new players to get into, on top of being a little rough to look at. That's where Nightdive Studios comes in. For the past 7 years, the remaster masters at Nightdive have been hard at work on a full remake of System Shock, a project that has seen some ups and downs, with numerous delays and even a brief hiatus. You can't blame fans for being a little skeptical when the game's Steam page recently updated to say the game was finally coming in March of 2023. But with the recent release of a new demo, or should I say update to the existing one, coinciding with the first installment of Steam Next Fest 2023, it appears us System Shock fans will finally be returning to Citadel Station sometime next month. In today's video, I will be taking a look at the new demo and lending my first impressions, what seems to be working so far, what might need some work, and if it's shaping up to be a faithful remake. And so with that, let's type in that famous door code and get cracking. Right off the bat, this new demo gives us a clear look at how the final product will expand upon the original game, starting us off in the hacker's fully explorable apartment and allowing them to witness his arrest and subsequent hiring by Edward Diego firsthand, something that was covered in the original during the intro cutscene. From there, after you awaken in Citadel Station and get your bearings, you are thrust into the medical floor of the station. Veterans of the original game will quickly discover its layout is nearly identical and will likely have little issue navigating it, although they will come across changes, mostly minor ones, or minor ones so far, like the beginning medical room ramp being removed in favor of a vent leading into a locked office. Level tweaks aren't all that's new here, not by a long shot. Skulking through these dark metallic halls, players will come across the recycler station, which allows them to exchange duplicate or damaged items for credits. Credits that can be used to purchase food from vending machines, along with other more useful things. This was a convenient feature in System Shock 2, and it's good to see it return in the original game. There's also a cargo lift now that moves between the floors of Citadel. The idea is that you can store items here and retrieve them later. It's essentially the magic item box from Resident Evil. A great addition. Some of the additions this remake's demo features also hint at new gameplay aspects, as well as a further fleshing out of the lore. You'll notice in some of the hospital rooms that there are medical cyborgs that seem to be constructing and repairing other cyborgs, shedding more light on how SHODAN was able to convert the crew into her slaves. Although at the moment I am unsure what the consequence is of killing these, if any. Past that, the original gameplay loop is largely unchanged. You explore, collect items to help you survive and progress, fight monsters, or don't, with the occasional puzzle to give your brain a workout. Of course, controls have been modernized, and your HUD, along with all its functions, have been streamlined, significantly lowering the learning curve and making it more approachable compared to the original. In general, it feels and plays a lot more like a contemporary first-person shooter. And where Nightdive has modernized and expanded upon many aspects, they've held back on others to stay true to the original. For instance, cameras still have to be destroyed to lower each floor's security rating, and like the original, the cameras don't alert enemies to your presence or raise any sort of alarm. Which is surprising considering System Shock 2, and, well, every immersive sim like it after, would implement that sort of system. The demo provides several firearms to play with, like the pistol, which is a lot snappier, and Spark Gun, which can still be overcharged to devastating effect, along with some explosive treats. Shooting feels good, although going up against multiple enemies was a source of irritation. Not necessarily because it was more difficult, but because the cyborgs attack with the sort of speed and accuracy that reeks of hit scanning. And the effects of their spark lasers is a little much. They were actually disorienting to me and made it difficult to pinpoint my attacker. Melee combat is on the clunky side too, although it was in the original as well, so maybe that's the point. Your swings swing the camera in a way that can make combat a little confusing, and it's tough to tell if your attacks are even connecting. And I wish we could block. Seems kinda silly not to be able to since our melee weapons are so large. Every time I went to smack an enemy, I had to accept I was gonna take a few hits to my health no matter what I did. But one thing that was kinda neat is that if you hit an enemy in the head with a fully charged melee shot, let's just say the reward is satisfactory. The enemy AI is not impressing me so far. Yeah, granted, these are mindless zombies and enslaved cyborgs, but a few times I would do things that would surprisingly go unnoticed by my enemies, and there were plenty of times where enemies should have seen me but somehow didn't. And it was enough to hurt the immersion. One aspect that has received a striking makeover is the cyberspace sequences. Like in the original, these are free-flying shoot-'em-up levels where the goal is to break security protocols, allowing you to access sealed-off areas of Citadel. Compared to the original, these sequences are a little more palatable in terms of gameplay and easier to navigate as it's not a maze of confusing wireframes. And yet, they visually feel true to the original Cyberspace and retain some of its design quirks, like being able to see your goals through the walls. The graphics are certainly taking a unique approach. In terms of art direction, the game is sticking very close to the original's 90s-centric take on cyberpunk, albeit this incarnation has a far darker and frightening tone. Oh yeah, already this remake is creepier than the original, and certainly takes some pages from System Shock 2's horror playbook. Oh, there's nothing like walking down a dark hallway and hearing the moans of slobbering zombies or hearing Shodan's cybernetic slaves speak their zealotous dribble.
Yes, Mother. System check will wait. Possible suspect.
And the terrifying game over cinematic where you're converted into a cyborg has made a return, and is as off-putting as ever. But what really stuck out to me is that taken from a distance, the graphics appear to go for a realistic render, which gives Citadel a feeling of tangibility. But if you look closely, the textures are pixelated in a retro style, likely to pay tribute to the pixelated look of the original. It's certainly creative, and like I said, when taken together from a distance, it looks great. But I need some more time with this graphical direction to see how I really feel about it. I don't hate it, it's a charming approach, but I can't lie, some of these textures look pretty gnarly up close. But past that, I do think this game looks pretty dang good. I think the lighting is spot on, and I especially love the animation work with your enemies and your hackers reloading and equipping animations. They're very springy and immediate. I dig.
Todd got the combination for the armory on medical. It's 705.
I'm happy to hear that the writing for the audio logs have been left alone, for the most part, with voice acting that is far more believable compared to the original.
I really made it out myself. I'm never coming back.
Yes, you will still find the majority of audio logs next to the corpses of their owners, although the grisly way these corpses are rendered serves to further drive home the horror that has befallen Citadel Station. During the demo, there were definitely things that cropped up that need some attention before release. There were bugs in the demo, like Diego's head, leaving his body at the beginning, and your leg clipping through the medical capsule. And some scenes didn't quite have the oomph I was hoping for. Like when the hacker gets arrested, it's a somewhat awkward scene with the arresting officer walking up and bopping you on the head. No music, not really any dialogue. Kinda makes the moment feel flat.
These questions will be addressed, I believe, by modern...
Turn around! Now!
It's still tough to say if this remake will be as legendary as the original, but I do think it's safe to say it's shaping up to be a solid and faithful reimagining of the game that brought us Shodan. While there's still a few things to tweak, it's clear that Nightdive has put a lot of hard work into this, at least as far as the demo is concerned, and it's going to be interesting to see how well it's received and what kind of business it does. Because if this game hits the way Nightdive wants it to, in my opinion, this could open the door to the studio doing more remakes of their remaster catalog. Assuming the legalities are in their favor, of course. And I can think of a few games that would be pretty fun to see reimagined. Power Slave. Remake Power Slave. System Shock is slated for a March 2023 release. No, there's not a hard date yet, so take that with a grain of salt. But if it does slip past March, I'd put money on it being here by summer. And yes, I do plan on reviewing it when it's released, so please be sure to check back to this channel when the time comes. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts on this remake down in the comments below. And please check out my review retrospective of the original System Shock linked below. I'm actually really proud of that video and learned a lot of great stuff making it, and I think it's a fun watch. If you dug the video, please be sure to subscribe, like, share, and smack that bell. If you want to come say hi, my Discord is linked below, along with my affiliate links. I'm KIRK, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.